Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 14 of Mixlife. I'm here with Adam and Jen Jarvis. It's Father's Day, you know. Most people are out barbecuing or like shooting stuff or something, but I don't want to go outside because it's a fucking allergy season and I hate outside right now. So my kid and family, they're all off doing like fun stuff, and dad gets to fuck around at home. I hope everybody out there's having a good Father's Day. Adam, happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much. I had a great day. Had breakfast with the kids. It was good. And little Barnes and Noble with the kids. So
Did you salt the kids before you ate them?
did I what? Salt them?
Awesome.
Yes.
And Jennifer Jarvis is here with us today. Unexpectedly, I would have put you in the title if I'd have known you were coming today, Jen. But thank you for showing up nonetheless.
It was kind of a last minute thing. I wasn't sure if I was going to do my show even.
All good, all good. Well, we're glad to have you. You did a candy episode today, right? I saw.
Yes,
I didn't get a chance to drop in. I was getting set up for this.
I am just finishing off this M&M. It's a coffee peanut M&M flavor.
Oh shit, son. All right, well, not son, but you know what I mean. That sounds good. I just mixed up a pear raspberry hibiscus that I've been messing with a little bit here and there.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it smells good. I haven't tried it yet. I'm about to in a minute here. Stars and Clouds Creative, hi all from I'm assuming that means Australia because I can't.
Yeah.
Australia, or it's some weird Eastern Bloc nation that I don't know about, which is plausible, I guess. So welcome everybody to our fancy Father's Day episode where we talk too much about nothing important. Few quick news items. We got some new one shots coming to chefsflavors.com or .co.uk. So we'll have 4 new one shots coming out, 2 from myself and 2 from Adam. Sometime early next month, I believe, is the timeline for that. So in the next 2 weeks, we should see some new flavors coming out from us.
Yeah, I think July 1st is the debut for that whole set because that's my deadline on labels. So I'm guessing.
Right, that sounds about right.
So look for that July 1st, folks.
Also, look for Clayton Moneymakers. Got a new line of one shots coming out with chefs also under Steam Room. And then Darren Cole's got a new set of 4 coming out that same week. So it's going to be a big week for new flavors at Chef's Flavors. So be sure to give them a check out if you're in the UK or even if you're in the US and you're interested in one shots. They have a huge selection and shipping is pretty reasonable to the United States. So it's always worth throwing them a couple extra bones for shipping. I think it's like $6.50. And they got a lot of stuff that you can't get anywhere else. So,
Cherries in Liquor by Inawera. If you're doing a chef's shop, get that. It's like a perfect grenadine cherry, and with like a back note of maybe they call it liquor, but it's like think liqueur, like a cherry liqueur, like you use for like a flambe or something. Really good stuff. I used the whole bottle in like 3 batches. And then Flavora, there's a couple samples there for a little lower you can get. So if you want to try something, if you're already ordering, Decadent Vapors is great. And just their one shots are good too. So there's a lot of good options. If you're going to do that order, you can pick up some really cool flavors that aren't available here, but are going to make your mixes like gourmet European, if you will.
Also worth noting is it's worth picking up Chef's Choice Devon Cream. It's like TPA Bavarian Cream, but it's better in every way possible. It's like TPA Bavarian Cream and Holy Vanilla had an unholy, terrifyingly delicious baby. It's good. It's really good. I use it all the time, and I always I'm hesitant to release a lot of recipes with it because a large portion of our viewership and fan base is US based, so they're like, where can I get it? But anyway, wait, isn't it available at OSDIY now? One Stop?
I think it is. Yeah, they did a partnership with OSDIY, and then I picked up Tickle Me Pink, which is one of their one shots from OSDIY. Let me see what they got available for you folks here.
They have Tickle Me Pink at OSDIY?
Yeah, and Green Lush. Oh, and the money. Yeah, you got Devon Cream, you got Green Lush, Tickle Me Pink. And then there's the Mexican fried ice cream is real popular over there as well. So there's a couple different one shots if you're ordering from One Stop DIY Shop, and you can just send a little love over to the UK guys, and they're good stuff. a fun thing. I was at Disney World in the smoking section, and this guy was smoking a cigarette, and he saw me vaping, and we started talking. And he was from England, and he didn't know anything about like DIY mixing or anything like that. And he's telling me I just bought a bottle of like 30 mil for $40 here, and the coils were $25 a pack or something. And I had a 60 mil on me for Disney. Of the Tickle Me Pink, and I was like, bro, take this with you, you know. So it was really cool because I got to meet a UK vapor, and then he messaged me back when he was back in England and stuff. So it was an exciting experience because a lot of the guys over in England, you know, we know online but never, you know, interact personally with. So that was a cool thing, trading e-juice at Disney.
Nice. It's like it's got to be like a thing, right? Where you just like randomly hand off e-juice at somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure I broke an FDA rule.
Right, whatever.
And Disney's rules, I'm sure.
Fuck them if they can't take a joke. You hear that, FDA?
Yeah, take a joke.
Take a joke.
Let's see.
So, what else we got? We got a lot of big stuff coming. Some of it's still covered by stuff that we can't talk about, but be expecting for a lot of new, really exciting announcements in the coming weeks.
Takeover.
I wanted to give a big shout out to Bull City Flavors this month for releasing that huge line of community flavor packs. I think it's a really great idea to support mixers. We know that Bull City Flavors isn't really set up to mix one shots right now, and that's a big undertaking to build a facility that would keep up with the volume that they're looking at trying to get out for everybody. So those mixers packs go to a really wide range, not just for us in the the DIY or die community, but for everybody. That's a lot of other people that are involved in the community as well, from ELR and from some other sites. Even Hicks got a community pack up there.
Yeah, Head in the Clouds. That was the craziest one on there because Head in the Clouds is like a mystery and an enigma,
right?
And somehow they work that out. So that's kind of the most wildest one. And then Mama J's Custard too. That you got those are two that are kind of like you wouldn't expect to. Some old school people coming back, so that was cool.
Yeah, I'll be releasing a flavor pack here in the next week or two, hopefully, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more to grow. They want to keep adding to them. So, and I was talking to Rage the other day, and he sent me some really weird flavors that I want to talk about for just a minute. To me, Flavor West candy corn, which I was really like, because when I smelled it, it smelled like a kid's like Halloween like plastic bucket with like the plastic and everything. Like it smells like it's full of candy, but it's just like got that plastic edge to it. And I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. But he said it was Rage said it was one of his favorites, and it doesn't get a lot of attention. And now I can see why. It's actually like, it's closer to like a sort of like white chocolate candy, right? It's got a really good candy texture base and kind of a mild chocolate vibe to it. And it's actually really delicious. And I think I'm going to be releasing some recipes with it here soon. It's pretty fun. It's a little on the weaker side, so I haven't really found a happy spot for it yet in a blend, but solo about 5%. It's really good, and I actually really enjoyed it. It kind of reminds me of their white chocolate with just like a little more depth. It's pretty delicious. You guys get any new flavors this week or anything fun to talk about?
Well, I've been on like a weird cycle of being hooked on my own one shot, and it's strange to me because I know how to make it and I have the ingredients, but the convenience of the sugar cookie fluff, because it hit my A, I gave it an A rating. I love it. I liked it. That's why I put it out there. And then to get that back as a one shot, now I've just gotten in a loop of making that over and over. And I've vaped like 4 or 5 60 mils of the sugar cookie fluff, it's strange to me that I'm hooked on my own one shot as an ADV, but it works because I got like 4 or 5 bottles of it. And it's just like, the one shots are cool. Like I thought one shots were good, but now like having a flavor that I actually love and being able to one shot it up is great because I can mix without a scale, even just knowing the different amounts. And I wouldn't advise you doing that until you've done it a little bit, but just having, not without a scale, but without ELR, without all the metrics. Like you just memorize the metrics. And I know you're saying you do that sometimes too with your PGVG. just know your numbers from doing it so much. And let's see, I got something I want to drop for everybody. It's not finished, but it's a concept, if you will. And let's see if I can get her going. Screen share that application window. All right, this right here is a new concept. Can you guys see that? Do you see that, Kopel?
Yeah, I can see it, man.
Okay, so ejuiceoneshots.com, and it's kind of like bridging the different coasts together. So England has tons of good one shots. E-cig is releasing, the mixer collection, and then as more one shots begin to happen, more mixers get one shots. This site is kind of going to be just a bounce for that. So you can go and check here, ejuiceoneshots.com. It doesn't sell anything on it. It's merely just like a collection of one shots. And it's real simple. It's one page. You're going to have new one shots here as they come out. And then down here you have the full. I've got about 6 in there right now. I'm going to add, 50 at the end of the day. But then you're able to sort based on where you're looking for. So if you guys are looking for UK, it'll have all those, USA. But as there's different sites that have these things, you're going to be able to just pick based on flavor or mixer, and then whatever site you get taken to, you can buy from. So it's just a hub, if you will, for all these one shots as they're going to be coming out. And I think it's going to turn out really well as just being a resource like, hey, let me go see what new flavors I can buy, instead of looking at like 4 or 5 different websites, having to go to Chefs, having to go to e-cig, Bull City, all those different sites. It's just one spot where you can see everything going on. So that's ejuiceoneshots.com, and it'll get better over time. It's not really a moneymaker necessarily. I mean, like if you buy our one shots, but I plan to have everybody's one shots in there just so that it's a nice resource for you guys. It's hard to know when new stuff comes out sometimes just based on the volume of posts, and it's not a real good way to get the message out. So that was the thinking behind it. This will be fun. You just go here and you're like, oh, new flavor I want to try. I didn't know there was a pina colada. You click it up, and then somebody might love Southern Smoke or Tango Mango and not know those are one shots available just in the UK. And like Chris said, $6 shipping is nothing, and then the shipping time is usually like 8 to 10 days. So it's not too much longer. So yeah, it's the Trivago for one shots. Nice gopher bird. Good comparison there. So that's a cool little new thing we got going, and hopefully it's useful to you guys down the road. And let's take it on back from the screen share.
So Stars and Clouds Creative just made a point that it'd be nice for simplicity's sake for the consumers if there was an industry standard of 20% mix ratio. The inherent problem with that really just lies in sort of like in a preference thing, right? So if I dilute my mix, let's say I make a recipe that's 10%, right? But then I add the extra, 10% PG, or to accommodate for what would end up being the 20% in a blend. A lot of people like to mix like 90-10, PG, VG versus PG. And, people that use all different kinds of a really wide range of devices. So I think that leaving the PG-VG ratio alone, because you'd have to mess with the PG-VG ratio of the final juice to fit it to adjust that 20% mix ratio, So some people may be getting more PG than they want out of it. And for those people that are like sensitive to PG, that could be a real problem. So it kind of closes some people out of your market. While I get the need for the industry standard, what I'd like to see instead in the future going forward is for them to come in like a bundle with and one empty bottle with a line, on it that says fill to here, basically, right? And then you fill your one shot in, and then you add your Nick and your VG, shake it up, and you're good to go. And then you don't even need a fucking scale, right? Except for your nicotine, and you can measure that with a syringe or a pipette or whatever. So there's lots of other ways to do that without having to adjust the ratio, because some people are going to want to have that versatility of being able to use more VG than others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. And then the other thing is that, like, if we're saying 12% or 14%, the reason we're saying that is because that's where we kind of like it the best. So, you know, if you like it more, you can totally do that. It's really just a starting point to your preference. And then the other thing I would say is just sometimes over flavoring doesn't increase quality of flavor. So as you reach like the tipping point of the ideal flavor percentage, you start to harm the mix rather than help it. So, you know, there's some mixes, you know, 30% on ELR. That mix might not be as good as a 15% mix for the flavor. And it's counterintuitive because it's like, it's similar to like salting a dish or adding vinegar to a dish. And sometimes you can go over and then it's very hard to get back, but perfectly salting it is going to be great. So that's sort of how these flavors work, is they'll hit a point of zero returns basically as you increase. Yeah, like Gopher Bird said with the Flavora, you know, Flavora and Awera, those, you know, you can be down at 5 or 6 and it tastes amazing. Where if you were to take that up to a 15 or 20, it would not be as good. So it's a strange paradox in mixing where going too high on a flavor can sometimes hurt you more than help you. And so when I finish a mix, I'm always trying to dial down. So if, you know, how low on these flavors can I go? And for me personally, I find, you know, like a TPA, Capella type of thing, or, you know, if it's got a variety of ingredients, like 11% is usually where I start to work towards, just from putting them at where I know they should be, or where I like, you know, the whipped cream at, or I like Bavarian cream. And at the end of the day, you end up with like an 11 or 12. I wasn't going for that final percentage. I was balancing the ideal flavoring ranges for each flavor, and then you kind of end up with that. So that's sort of some things about flavor percentage and how they work with your mix.
Yeah, and Vaping 101 made a really good point that you know, watering down the concentrate to make it a consistent 20%, by just adding extra VG or PG, like you're diluting the value of that concentrate for other people because they won't get as much out of it. But I'm not going to drop the price for it because it's still going to cost me about the same to produce it if I add the extra VG or not. So like it's kind of a lose-lose for everybody. But we are working on a couple of ideas with the bottles being trademarked, or with just a little recipe card that comes with it that says, you know, this much for a 30, this much for a 60, this much for a 120.
Let me show you guys a website in the UK, and they're called Dark Star. They're kind of a competitor of Chefs a bit, but what they do is these things called bottle shots here. Can you guys see that? Everybody seeing it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. You see, it's just a bottle that's not filled all the way. And the way these work is you take this one over here, the base mix, and you take this one right here, which is the nicotine shot, and you pour it all into this one and you're done. So this is the most innovative or progressive, easy way to do it, where there's not even a scale needed. I mean, you're just pouring, they've measured them in the right ways. So that's something I think that down the road could be done. And so consider that as, you know, something that we might do. I think it would be helpful. Yeah, use the sugar cookie fluff in your coffee. That's a great idea. It's good. This thing's addictive.
Yeah, I need to order some, but I haven't had my budget open up for another ECX order yet.
Let's see. And then the other one is ID10T's Pina Colada. It's really good. I got that, and I couldn't get a hold of it. Like, I ordered it, but I sent it to my mom's house, and it was sitting over there for a couple weeks. I just got it like a couple days ago and mixed it up, and man, it's like Pina Colada mix. Like, if you're a bartender and you know, like, without the alcohol, the way that smells, like he nailed that. And like, what a testament to like he was basically cloning a public mixer drink, and he cloned that thing perfectly, I'd say. I mean, it's right there. So if you like pina coladas, as the title says, that's one to check out, guys. Really good.
Yeah, I mixed that like probably like a few weeks after he first released the recipe. I think it was last year or early this year. I can't remember, but it's really good. It's rock solid. Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's really fun.
Jennifer, let's get you involved here.
I think she ditched us, dude. She took off.
As she ditched us.
She had to go chase the kid, probably.
That's what happens. You're
there
bored.
she is. She's alive. She's alive. But besides that, you know, I know there's been a lot of talk about one shots a lot in the community, and it's just getting kind of a hype train thing right now. But I wanted to touch on why they're good for us and for the community. You know, not only do they benefit us as mixers by being able to make a little back of all the time we spend producing content and producing recipes for free that we give out just for fun because we want to, and we want to see the community grow. But at the same time, they help introduce people who otherwise wouldn't get involved with DIY because of, you know, the knowledge curve, right? The skill curve and all of the upfront cost of DIY mixing can be a little intimidating for someone that just wants to quit smoking. You know, it's a lot of work for a lot of people. You know, I put a lot of time into this. I put a lot of my free time into it. And, you know, so I'm not paying my bills with this stuff. You know, maybe someday in the future, if I'm really lucky, I might be able to. But for right now, I'm not paying my bills with this stuff, and that's not going to change anytime soon. But it does support us. And the more that we do this for the industry, the more opportunities we create for everyone, not just for the people that are doing it right now, but for all of you that are learning right now and are looking at maybe wanting to make a market entry in the next 6 months to a year. Like the opportunities that we create for ourselves, that we create for others now, you know, it just goes down the road. The whole industry grows from it, not just us, you know, not just us like you that are doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, as far as we're developing flavors at a speed that the industry is not. You know, there's some people that are putting recipes out in bottles still, and it's pissing off the other guys that are on hold, you know, but from a developer standpoint, you know, DIY or Die, Flavor Pro, e-juice makers, we're advancing our flavor profiles so quickly that where we're going to be down the road by the time any of this, you know, revises and the market opens again, we're going to be in a really good spot where the mixes that we'll have are going to be amazing. And I see trends down the road where the vapors are starting to realize that, you know, they're not, that when you try one of these mixes that's layered, or try one of these mixes that's really well worked out, and then you compare that to your usual vape shop stuff, you're getting, you know, just a better quality product at the end of the day that's made for best quality recipe versus, you know, lowest margin to sell. You know, and that's one of the things we do when we make one shots. We're never thinking about, you know, price other than like, don't use, you know, 10% of rich cinnamon type of thinking. But we don't think about it from what's the cheapest one shot we can make. You know, that's not how, you know, Kopel and I do it. Is we just make great recipes, and then if there's money to be made, that's great. But if not, you know, making $1 or 50 cents or, you know, 10 doesn't really matter. You know, just as long as you're getting a good recipe, because the recipe speaks for itself. So if you're getting quality recipes, you know, consistently through these one shots, there's going to be people that are going to make that switch, and then they're not going to want the vape shop, but they might not be a mixer. They might not be that far down the road where they want the 100 concentrates. It's coming to a point where I see a whole new market where it's just going to be people that want to, you know, maybe do the 3-step one shot mix, and you can have 10 bottles of different flavors that you know are good. That's where it's going. Oh, sub vapes, you got to add cherries in liqueur by Inawera, and you'll get that free delivery. Oh, and you definitely should pick up, we got 2 one shots that are on sale there for $3. The Sin City is a perfect cinnamon roll. definitely should get that one. And they're pulling those ones off. So we're eliminating the line down, and then we have the 4 summers coming. So I definitely suggest you get the ones on sale, especially if you turn out to like them. That's all you're going to be able to get them. And that cinnamon roll is good. I found OSDIY cinnamon roll tastes like raw cinnamon roll to me. And when I was crafting this cinnamon roll that they have, it's better, I'd say. It's more of a baked cinnamon roll. So give that a try if you're thinking. Let's see. Jennifer, come on in. Give us some knowledge. Drop some knowledge on the crew.
I've just been quiet because my air conditioner is running and it's just too hot in here to even turn it off for like 5 minutes.
Oh, it's like 1,000,000 degrees in here right now. I'm fucking dying. I want to run it, but it's so loud I wouldn't even be able to talk over it. It's like 85 in here, maybe 90. I don't know. It's killing me.
My thing says 77, but that's only because it's been running almost the entire show.
Yeah, it was only 68 in here when I turned it off, but it's already spiked like 10 degrees.
It gets so hot so fast. I'm sitting here. I'm like, I'm dying.
There's a window. I hope that when we do our upload, that's the screenshot. Is Jen like dying? It's gonna be good. Perfect. Perfect. I don't know how to actually make it do that. It just does whatever at random. It like picks a time.
You can screen capture something and then actually load it up as a thumbs.
Well, I knew I could do it that way, but I just let it roll with whatever at random. Because I think it makes for a better captured moment that way.
Yeah, the randoms are funnier.
Yeah, the random ones are the best. We got Clayton's up there last time. It was good. He was like,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Will you guys explain alternative steep methods? So besides letting it sit in a dark room, what are your thoughts on all these different ways to steep juice, and which ones do you guys use? And
oh boy.
None of them work.
None of them work. Heard it here first, folks.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Go ahead first. Sorry. I didn't want to.
It's by days. Like things can eliminate a couple of days maybe off of your steep time, but for the most part, it's gonna still take a month for a lot of things to steep. It just really depends on the flavors. I can vape a lot of the Flavora tobaccos and some of the tropical fruits within 3 days, but they are still steeping for 2 weeks. When I come back to, like, I'm doing a 120 ml bottle right now, and in 2 weeks, it's a completely different flavor than what it is on day 3. So, the tobaccos bloom. The Turkish tobacco really comes out and has that nice floral note. And because I'm right now, what I have is a rendition of tab chai that I have on all the flavors, and the Thai chai flavor kind of comes out and mingles with the tobacco, and nothing really seems to enhance that. I've got the Vortexer, I've got an ultrasonic, I've got a magnetic stir, and it's just. I've tried all of them because I was in the continual pursuit to try to make things steeped as quickly as possible. And none of them really have proven effective enough. And seed steeping, it makes it vapable faster. It doesn't steep it faster. It makes it vapable faster because you're adding some of whatever was in there to it. And you've already got a steep liquid in there. So it kind of blends in and makes it taste more steeped than it actually is. I've done that. I do that all the time with my tobaccos and stuff. I'll leave like that much in the bottle, like a finger's width or so, and just mix in on top of it. Of course, these are also recipes I'm roughly doing just by memory rather than really following the recipe.
It's really like you got to get used to preparing for your future. And like if you're an irresponsible, impulsive person like me, you just have to literally be like, all right, number one is buy more bottles than you think you need, right? Because for most of you, I know you run low on bottles, you're reusing your bottles. If you have like 50 chubby gorilla 60s, you're going to be able to make 2 or 3 at the same time, no worries, right? But if you don't, then you're like, oh, I'll just make this one bottle. The other things have enough PG, VG, Nick that your budget can afford, right? But it's so much like, think how easier it would have been for you to make 120 mil yesterday than 10 mil, right? But you did all the numbers, you did all the steps. So definitely think about it. And then the other thing, guys, someone brought up microwaving, and you're the only person, Jennifer, that I've heard that does that. So maybe talk about your method for that and some do's and don'ts with if you're going to microwave your juice, because you're very impatient.
Microwave in either PET or glass. First of all, do not microwave in LDPE or HDPE because they can both kind of leach and melt and they get weird. With the PET, this is usually what I'm using. I don't use a whole lot of glass, but I just put it in, and with 120 mil, I end up having to go about 12 seconds total, but I stop it every few seconds, so like every 3 to 4 seconds, and then I give it a shake, and I do it until it's just warm. Like I can put it to my cheek, and it's just barely warmer than I am. So it's not going over, 125 degrees.
Does that kill the nicotine? Does it create nicotine decay?
I vape my stuff so fast it doesn't really matter, and I'm only using 1% or 1 milligram, so it's really I'm pretty low on nicotine, and if it degrades it a little, it's really not a big deal for me. But if you are vaping a higher milligram, you may notice a small drop because microwaving could reduce it by a milligram or two. So you may want to do it if you're, adding your nicotine afterwards. Microwave your flavors first, and it's mostly to thin the VG. I did notice with Zeppola, Flavor Art Zeppola, that it made it fluffier tasting. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but it does make that flavoring taste fluffier of a donut. Some of the Flavora flavors I noticed change a little bit. They become a little more vibrant or a little more vivid. Does it speed up steeping? Not necessarily. It speeds up how quickly I can vape it, like the throat hit, because I'm very sensitive to that. I usually can't vape things that are immediately mixed. I need at least 3 or 4 days. And if I microwave it, I can usually vape it the next day. So
the other thing you guys can do is make a shake and vape, and then a long steep at the same time. In the Mixlife app, if you search the recipes on there by steep time, it'll do that. So they have keywords you can search. The search engine there is really cool. And on the Mixlife app too, you can watch Jennifer's shows. You can watch Concrete River's new flavor videos that he's fumbling through. And then you can watch our Mixlife shows, and you can also watch the Noted podcast, and every episode's there. So for $1, you got an app, and I did the update. It's called Mix TV, and then there's each channel is in there, and you can watch the new show. So you guys always can keep up with the shows at work, wherever you're at. So just another way. And then while we're on promotion, if you're watching the show and you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe, hit the little bell, and that way you'll get an email and get updated every week when we're doing a show. And it's always 6 p.m. Eastern time, Sundays. So if you're looking for us, that's where we are. And Christopher has some answers to your questions about heating.
All right, so real quick, I agree with Jennifer. Like 99% of the time, speed steeping, seed steeping, or heat steeping generally isn't very effective. Heat can affect the way your flavors interact with each other because, I mean, heat, when you apply it to a molecule, speeds up the process in which it creates a bond with others, right? So it can sort of speed up the process, but it comes at a cost, right? It comes at the cost of, if you heat too much, you're going to cause a loss of flavor because of evaporation. You're going to cause nicotine degradation or over-oxidation. And 3, it's unpredictable, right? So even though you think you're controlling the heat, unless you're using like fairly high-tech labware, you're not really controlling the heat in a capacity that you think you are, and you're going to get inconsistent results every single time. So you can think that that it's speeding it up, right? And it might work that one time, but then the next time you try it, even under the exact same circumstances, you're going to get a slightly different result. And I think for me, consistency is more important than being in a hurry. So really the very best method that any mixer can ever adopt is, like Adam said, is to be prepared for the future. So what I do for myself is I'm a parent, right? And I work full time, and I have a very limited amount of time to do anything I need to do. So once a week, I set aside 2 hours where I just mix, right? So throughout the week, I'll jot down recipe notes or ideas. I'll use ELR as scratch paper and just kind of save them as private recipes. And then when I sit down to mix at the end of the week, I'll knock out all those recipes that I've been thinking about, all at once. And I'll do 10 or 15 or 20 bottles. I mix more than what I think I can vape in a week. So that way I've always got an entire week's supply sitting in the steep drawer that's ready to go, and then another supply that's sitting there just waiting to be used. And over time you can slow that down as you build up a back supply. But then you're not fucking, pardon my language, you're not waiting around all the time, hoping to God that you got, your juice is going to be good to go tomorrow because you just made it yesterday. You do always got that back supply going. Heat can work in some circumstances and in special cases with a specific flavoring where a little bit of heat can really bring it around, like Jennifer mentioned about Zeppola and some of the Flavora flavors, where that accelerated molecular bonding can cause a change in flavor. But it doesn't really save you that much time. And in the long run, time is still going to be your best friend in this. So you just let it go. Do it early. Do it way early. It was the hardest habit for me to learn as a mixer because I would always get so excited. I'd mix the juice up and I'd be like, it's going to be fucking delicious. I can't wait. And then I'd vape it. I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? Oh my God. Like,
Yeah, try. You guys want to try something awful? Do a shake and vape of Greek yogurt.
Like Flavora Greek yogurt, 3%. It's delicious, but just vape it fresh. You'll change.
That's what you give to your impulsive friend that won't wait for the steep.
Yeah,
tastes like blue cheese.
It needs a good 2 weeks at least. A month, preferably.
You got a point with scheduling time for yourself, in business and things like that. When you freelance, stuff like that, it's hard to find, a fixed time to do stuff. And we all know how life gets away from us. And then all of a sudden you're not mixing for weeks. And if you're like me, you end up vaping the failed batches, which is just, like a bad orange cream that I put too much creme de menthe in, and it's just weird. But, you're there and you need to vape and you're too lazy to mix. And if you mix, it's not going to be good right then anyway. So you're kind of in a weird spot where you're like, all right, I'll just vape this trash. So just take a couple extra, minutes and make some good stuff that you're going to enjoy later. Think of it as like a Christmas present to your future self, right?
I also, when I do that weekly mix session, like I usually include 3 or 4 recipes that I know I'll like and I know have short steep times. So I always have that like backup ready just in case something pans out, doesn't work well, and it ends up being a toilet juice, I can dump that one feeling safe that I have 3 or 4 of the recipes that are good to go right now. Usually for the show, I mix up a new recipe, but this one's pretty good, but I think I need to adjust it.
ID10T in the chat.
Yeah, I see it. He's wielding his wrench with merciless power.
I was just bragging on your pina colada. Good job. 10 out of 10 quality. I said you cloned the mixer of pina colada perfectly. So good stuff. Nice work, sir. If you guys, there's a cool, if you like macaroons, coconut cookie is actually really good by Inawera. And you wouldn't think macaroon because it's called coconut cookie, but it's right there. It helps for a base for that.
So one last thing about steeping is that I completely lost my train of thought. It's gone now. Whatever it was, it's gone. I blame Jennifer because she's quiet today.
Buy the Mixlife app and the one shots.
I can see her laughing back there, but she's not.
What were you gonna say?
I know. I really don't know. I completely forgot, and I just targeted you because you had your mute mic and couldn't fight back. Yeah, I totally had something, but it's gone now.
Dave's arguing macaroon and macaroon. I don't know. That's for the internet trolls.
And macaroon.
That's for the internet trolls to decide.
Well, You have a French version, which is the 1 O, and the American version has the 2 O's. So
Yeah, I've had the fluffy, eggy ones, and then I've had the good like cookie with the pieces of coconut in them.
The
they are
French
different.
ones are those little cookie-like ones that you bake,
They're
and
crunchy,
they're like little cookies. And the macaroons that we're thinking of are the coconutty kind of. It looks like meringue almost that's baked in kind of a big blob. It's more like a drop cookie rather than an actual formed cookie.
True story.
Yeah, I watched British Bake Off.
Nice.
Oh, we heard sesame cookies. Great. Steven, who's known as...
Is that the same as sesame sweet?
I think so, yeah. Or is it not?
Is.
There's a new sesame sweets.
That's what I have. That's what
Chivas Steve was like raving about it being really good.
Steven just hooked me up with some, and it's good. It's really fucking good. It's delicious. It's like those little sesame crackers with like the kind of like caramel inner.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I'm
like
talking about?
like a caramel block with sesame seeds in it.
Oh my god, it's amazing. I just got it, and I mixed them with some cap sugar cookie and like I think some brown sugar and butter, and it's delicious. It's incredible. I don't want to release the recipe because I think I could refine it better and make it a little more original. But it's really good. I just wanted to try it out in a base where I knew what it would taste like, and it's excellent. The sesame is really bright. It's got a little bit of like a gingery type finish, but it's really rich. It's super good, and it's really potent. So whatever you think that 1% is probably enough, it's probably too much. Like I think I could probably take it back down to 0.5% or 0.75. But yeah, it's really good. And then I got this Liquid Barn Cherry Blossom Tea. I haven't had a chance to mess with it, but it smells really, really good. It reminds me of Flavor West. It reminds me of Flavor West Cherry Crush and Honeysuckle.
That's good.
A little bit. I get that kind of medicinal cherry out of it though, off the nose. So I'm not sure, but Flavor West Cherry Crush pushes out that medicinal smell, but it doesn't really taste medicinal unless you go super high with it. I haven't had a chance.
It's a little sweeter and a little more cherry-like than Cherry Blossom from TFA.
It's way sweeter and way more cherry-like than cherry. I had a TPA Cherry Blossom right here. The cherry note in Cherry Blossom isn't very noticeable to me. I don't get very much.
No, this has more of a green note.
Yeah.
Like there's a green and there's a spicier floral kind of back note there.
I think it's more the blossom from the tree than it is the...
Yeah, it has more of that herbally smell that honeysuckle has.
Yeah, it definitely is closer to honeysuckle, and they actually make a really good pairing too.
Liquid Barn's Cherry Blossom has more of the cherry smell that Flavor Art Black Cherry has.
Yeah, I think. Let me smell that again. Now I'm curious. Another one I got that I'm really excited about mixing with is the Shisha Punch. It smells like an Indian spice punch. It smells really good.
I think I have that already.
Rage hooked me up with a few free flavors. The nice guy that he is.
Shout out to Rage.
Always.
Rage is a lot of work over at Bull City.
As a fellow angry dude, I can sympathize with it being it's a ton of work. No, not too many questions from chat today. These guys
McDonald's has macaroons. Have you guys seen that? Like McDonald's around the world has the craziest things. If you search like different McDonald's products around the world, like they serve up some weird things to different cultures. It's an intriguing search rabbit hole to go down one day.
When I was in Iraq, they had a McDonald's at one base in the whole country. And I'm not sure what they were using, but I'm not 100% sure that it was actually ground beef. But I felt that way about just about everything that you could eat in Iraq or Afghanistan. So you never know, really, right? Those little taco, they're like little taco trucks, that are a fast food restaurant inside. So there's like questionable quality. Except there was this coffee place called the Green Bean that was everywhere.
In Iraq,
Yeah, and they had the best fucking coffee, man. They had this like dirty chai. It was like espresso, and like oh my, I don't even know how to begin to describe it. I've been chasing that flavor since I got home. It's
well,
delicious.
you have a chai latte recipe, right?
Yeah, my dirty chai, but it's really more of a dirty chai. It's kind of more tobacco centric because it's an RY4.
And then
Right.
Jennifer, were you working on one as well?
No, I have tab chai out already. And I also found that Flavora's Thai chai with lychee and Greek yogurt is delicious. Wouldn't be a combination you'd think, but it is divine.
I could see that working. Thai chai is really interesting. It's one of my favorite Flavora flavors, I think, probably since I started mixing with Flavora, because it's so true to form to a traditional chai recipe, which is not like what we think about when you go down to Starbucks and get yourself a chai latte. Like traditional chai is tea and big, huge scoops of cinnamon and cardamom, and they dump it in this pot and they boil it until it's like this concentrate that's like dark and thick and syrupy and really, really super rich, and then they dilute it with milk, and then you drink it then after that. But it's really closer to like that traditional chai, pre being diluted with cream or anything like that. So it's a really fun flavor to mess with. Dominic Tovar here asked if we've tried the Sticks NET coffee flavors. I have. I really like the Italian roast and the Kona blend. Both are really mild and pretty good for coffee flavorings. I think my only thing that I don't care about for them is that they kind of wreck your coils pretty bad. But that's going to be true of any like naturally extracted flavoring like coffee or tobaccos. But the flavors they're spot on. They're really good, pretty smooth, pretty bold, and not really all too sweet. So if you like sweet coffee, you're gonna need to add some stuff to it.
What do you suggest for coffee? I've had a lot of people they go down the Flavor Art espresso, and that's awful. That is a mix ruiner to me.
I really like Booster or Tiramisu.
Yeah, that's what I
coffee. It's got a little bit of chocolate, like bitter chocolate, and like a tiny hint of cream, but it needs to steep a long time, and it's really potent. You can't just like throw it in there. I haven't tried Anywhere Coffee Zulu 723 or Z23. Just noted that Anywhere Coffee maybe. I haven't tried Anywhere Coffee yet. I'm not really big on coffee flavors. I use Booster in my dirty chai recipe, and I've tossed out a few coffee recipes that I kind of enjoyed, but it's really kind of a passing thing for me. It's not something I enjoy all the time. I don't even drink coffee in real life, so like my day to day, I don't drink coffee. So
well, that's your problem. That's why you're tired all the time.
Well, the problem is coffee, like the energy trade-off versus what it does to my stomach isn't worth it. Like I don't get enough energy, and I just spend half my day on the toilet, so it's not going to work out.
I don't have a wrench in chat, and I can't put a link up.
Adam, you get that? You just right-click her name, have her type in chat. There you go, right here. She's right above Tammy Olsen.
I'm going to add a moderator. Jennifer's a moderator. There we go.
There we go.
You're welcome.
Mike Litt asked, what are your thoughts on why NETs kill coils so quickly? I'm not 100% sure. With tobaccos, it's just kind of, that's just kind of like par for the course. So,
Well, you're still getting particulates. It's the small particulate matter that you're getting that doesn't all completely filter out. Sediments and those kind of things are all going to cause some coil buildup, and it's just inevitable. There's just some regular flavorings that we get from the various vendors that have sediments that can just bog your coils down. Even Flavor Art's chocolate flavors, they're coil killers.
I haven't met a chocolate flavor yet that doesn't do some damage to your coils. Some less than others. But the same with coffees and NETs, she's got a point. There's some particulate matter that you just can't filter out, and that's going to be the true of any flavoring, not just NETs. But since the natural extraction process is a much more direct route to getting the flavor extract than a lot of companies use in compounding flavors for our concentrated use, less of that stuff, more there's just more particulate present. You just can't filter it all out. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything really bad for you in it. there's always going to be the inherent risk. There's something in it that you probably shouldn't breathe in if you wanted to be 100% safe. But
there's a really good. He's a doctor talking somewhere. He's a professor, and he's giving like a speech on vaping. And the point he made was that bicycles are dangerous, cars are dangerous, and a lot of the propaganda that comes against vaping is this thing is harmful. Well, so is a bicycle, so is a car. And he said that it's a illogical argument that they use with propaganda, but the reality is the harm reduction. And that's why you hear that term used a lot, is because comparatively, go look up a cigarette. It has tons of diacetyl and a ton of other crazy stuff in it. Like there's like 100 chemicals that they put in the cigarette, not just naturally occurring, to make it, the trash that it is. So when you're looking at vaping, I know you probably have to argue it with people. It's really about, it's less harmful than what I was doing. And for me, I'd still be smoking if I didn't have this option. It allowed me to segue down to this. And, now I'm looking at like a year without smoking. And if you think back to when you smoked, your mouth would burn, your tongue would hurt, you cough all the time. And I don't get any of those things when I vape. So that's the end of the argument with me, is that at the end of the day, it's healthier. And yes, there may be some harm, and there's going to be people that want the version 2 versus version 1. But I promise you, this thing is not going to ever be something that's more dangerous than tobacco was. And a lot of the harm that comes from it is the burning, the igniting of the carcinogens and the fire to your body. And even Florida just legalized cannabis, and it's only vaping. They didn't do smoking, which, some people want the right to do that. But if you look at it from a harm reduction, vaping is going to be more and more prevalent. It's going to be the way, if you look at the statistics that just came out, there's the kids are quit, not smoking cigarettes as much. And I think it's because cigarettes aren't as cool as they used to be. And maybe they're going to have to deal with all the issues of vaping being a cooler thing. But I mean, my kids have no interest in this, in me vaping. Like, they have interest in the flavor creation, but from the standpoint of like, I want to vape someday, it just doesn't seem to have that propaganda message that we growing up. I mean, every cool person on every movie we watched was smoking cigarettes, and old Hollywood used to be all about cigarettes. So it seems that, in the next generation, it's almost like the kids aren't programmed as much that tobacco's cool. And there's a bigger opt-out mentality where you don't have to smoke cigarettes to be cool. And then, so the people that are choosing to vape, it's very likely they'd be smoking. So even those people choosing to vape are going down a healthier path, a less addictive path. So
oddly enough, as I have a couple teenagers, my daughter just graduated. Most of the teenagers in her class were actually using hookah, hookah things with the tobacco hookah and stuff. So, I mean, they don't really monitor for that kind of outlier of a product. And they're saying tobacco use is on a rise because of e-cigarettes, and it's not. A lot of the kids are using hookah more than they are e-cigarettes.
And down here it's a problem with the hookah, because what the hookah bars do is they'll leech off of the popular clubs around. So they'll put a ghetto hookah bar up right next to a popular nightclub, and then all the young kids that can't get into the popular bar are hanging out at this hookah lounge that's all ages or 18 and up. And that's where, like, a lot of the problems happen with that is, they're sitting there vaping on a hell of a lot of tobacco through the hookah. You know, it's interesting how things are changing, though. I think things are going to be. I think there will be a day when vaping is big tobacco, not in the negative ways, but in the popularity. I mean, who doesn't want to quit smoking cigarettes? I mean, there's very few people I've ever met that thought they were doing a great job.
Jenny, you all right? Are you all right over there?
Yeah, I went and I went and vaped Cap's sugar cookie, which is just making me cough, and because it hasn't steeped out. And I shouldn't actually be vaping it, but I was trying to develop a recipe.
Nice, I like it. That's good.
You know, I've even heard
you're the first. Jen can't handle it.
I've heard that. You know, I read an article that said the dip and the other tobacco products are actually even safer than smoking and igniting, and they're not even allowed to advertise that because the way they have the FDA sets it up. So even those things are healthier. It's the fire, it's the lighting the cigarettes and then breathing the fire that's the bad part. And I think over time the studies are going to keep going our way. I mean, every study, every legit article is going the way of vaping. And I think Big Tobacco knows that, because if you look at their patents, they filed a big patent with the FDA for what they call a smokeless tobacco device, but it's not an e-cigarette and it's not e-juice. They're taking a real cigarette and then it lightly cooks the cigarette and pulls the nicotine vapor, similar to like a cannabis vaporizer, and you're left with this dead cigarette where it doesn't have any of the, you know, the nicotine at the end of it. But, you know, they've got the money, they've got the research, and even they're going that way. And if you assume Big Tobacco knew that vaping was safer, and then you align that with everything the FDA did, it makes perfect sense, because what they do, they tried to pause up the industry long enough to catch up, and that's what they're trying to do. So there's a real, you know, when you look at the big picture of all this, it looks like vaping is going to be the future of all of this.
All right. We're hitting our line here. Somebody did a quick blurb about snus. Everybody in Sweden is doing snus. So a lot of snus is like it's kind of like a chewing tobacco, but not really. It's a big difference. It's like milder. It's mixed with a bunch of stuff, and you just like, you know, it's safer, I guess, in some way. I used it like my whole military career. You know, I dipped. I smoked cigarettes. 10 plus years. I mean, I smoked for 22 years total before I quit. So I've been doing a lot better. You know, my health 3 years now in, and my health is, you know, 1,000% better than it was 3 years ago. And I don't give a fuck what doctor says what. I feel better, and that's good enough for me. So hopefully that's good enough for everyone else. We're hitting our time limit. Any last minute questions for anybody?
I wanted to ask real quick, burning your coil, right? So after you've been vaping, your coil's all black, you change your cotton. How safe is the burn off of that? Is it something you got?
I mean, if you're breathing it directly in, it's probably not a great idea, but I mean, it's not really harmful. I mean, I get better flavor if I just rebuild it. If it's got gunk on it, I just take it off and rebuild it. So that's that's a flavor choice, because I feel like I get better flavor out of a fresh coil than I do out of one that's been dry burned and scraped the funk off. You know, it's like that's like pulling a dirty cigarette out of the ashtray and smoking it anyways. You know, like, you know, not any worse than the original, I guess, but you could do better if you wanted to. Right? It takes 5-10 minutes to rebuild.
You're not even burning it off. You're just rebuilding.
Yeah, I just rebuild straight out. Wire is dirt cheap. There's no reason not to. It costs me, if you're building your own coils, it costs, you know, 15 or 25 cents to rebuild your fucking atomizer. Why not spend that extra 20 minutes to rebuild it and call it a day? Like, no, we do that all the time.
I've had this coil on here for a month.
Good Lord. How is it so immaculate?
Because I don't vape sugar.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess you're fancy pants.
But all I do is take a little bit of EG on a paper towel and just wipe off the coil as it's warm, and it kind of steams it off, and it just cleans all the gunk off of it.
Well, hey guys,
I've just been changing my cotton.
Thank you for joining us on Father's Day. I'm gonna show off my Dad Rock hat.
Yeah, nice. I like it. That's good. I didn't get a cool hat. I did get this pretty rad monster to keep me company at my desk here. My 3-year-old made this for me. My Father's Day gift. Aww. He keeps me company every day now. He sits right here, and he oversees my mixing operation. So thanks for coming, everybody. Had a lot of fun. We'll be back next week, the same time, same channel, and we'll be back soon.